My name is Andrei Calugaru. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Romania and I study international sports management at the Hague University of Applied Sciences in Zata Park. And yeah, I drink coffee right now. It's one of my biggest hobbies to drink coffee. And yeah, I came here because I love sports. And this is my yeah, this is my first video on a sports topic. I know this is going to be 10 minutes or around 10 minutes. So, yeah, this is pretty interesting for me knowing that I'm doing it for the first time. So, it maybe includes some little cut in the video because I'm not used to talk at the camera. But I hope this is going to be interesting for you. And for sure, it was interesting for me when I did research for this, and I found a lot of new information about ethics in sports, and especially about the subject that I want to talk about today, which is violence in sport. That includes uh, drug abuse, illegal substances, um, children abuse, or sportsman abuse by somebody else, and a lot of illegal doings in the world of sports. Uh, bad sportsmanship, bad sportsmanship in the field during a certain match, and we will talk about some cases in which very good sportsmen use these substances in order to to win a certain competition or play better, and we will discuss whether this is called cheating or not, in which situations you can use drugs in drugs or performance in enhancements substances, and in which situations it's not allowed to do that, when it's called uh, cheating, when it's called when it is included in the rules that you are allowed to do that. And we know that there are certain competitions in which you are allowed to use such substances, and also there are competitions in which you are not allowed to, but still some uh, sportsmen do that. The first topic I'm going to talk about is violence in sport. Violence in sports usually refers to violent and often unnecessarily harmful intentional physical acts committed during or motivated by a sports game, often in relation to contact sports such as American football, ice hockey, rugby football, lacrosse, association football, boxing, mixed martial arts, wrestling, and water polo. When referring to the players themselves, often involving excessively violent or potentially illegal physical contact beyond the normal levels of contact expected while playing the sport. There are two major theories on the cause of violence in sports. One theory holds that humans have an instinct for violence developed during a time when early human ancestors had to resort to violence and aggressiveness to survive and reproduce, and another theory deals with the sociological aspects of violence in sports, stating that sports are mock battles which can become actual battles due to their competitive nature. Drug abuse is also part of violence in sport because it has severe consequences on the behavior of the athlete. Drug abuse occurs in all sports and at the most level of competition. Athletic life may lead to drug abuse for a number of reasons, including for performance enhancement, to self-treat otherwise untreated mental illness, and to deal with stressors such as pressure to perform, injuries, physical pain, and retirement from sport. One of the most major subjects regarding violence in sport is the athlete abuse, and I will present the case of the Olympic gold medalist Makaila Maruni, who was sexually abused as a teenager by Lawrence G. Nassar, the former doctor
for the national women's gymnastics team that left scars on her psyche that may never go away. The statement from Miss Maroney, 22 years old, read for her by the prosecutor, was one of 105 impact statements from victims read aloud during the proceedings against Dr. Nassar in county court. Miss Maroney said that the abuse began at a Texas training camp when she was 13 or 14 and that it continued for years. The conclusion that we want to extract from this is that the abuse of the athletes by other persons can be very harmful and can leave major scars on its psyche, and this problem has to be addressed as soon as possible. One of the most famous violence during a match was the headbutt in 2006 in the World Cup final when France's best player Zinedine Zidane was shown a red card after headbutting Italian midfielder Marco Materazzi in the chest. It was a moment that France will never forget, and neither the fans of football. Even though the gesture might be justifiable because of the bad words that Marco Materazzi addressed Zinedine Zidane, it is not an excuse to use violence during a sports game. Now moving sides to the bad sportsmanship. There is a saying that goes, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, it's how you play the game. And part of playing the game is respecting the opponent until the end of a match. Some people in sports seem to forget that. Like these guys who let their emotions and poor attitudes reflect on some really poor sportsmanship. So take notes, kids, this isn't how you should react when playing sports. When playing sports, you need to be aware of the rules and make your best effort to win the certain competition or the certain match by being the best and training the hardest in order to acquire the skills that will lead you to victory. Although there are many cases of bad sportsmanship, there are also cases in which you can use certain substances or drugs or performance enhancement substances that are allowed. For example, there are bodybuilding competitions in which you are allowed to use performance enhancement drugs because in those competitions steroids are permitted, and there are competitions in which you have to be natural and steroids are forbidden. So in the first case you are playing by the rules, and in the second case you are being not ethical and you are cheating, and for that there are severe repercussions. The final but not least subject of today is going to be gambling. Gambling is very visible in English football this season. Almost 60% of the clubs in England's top two divisions have the names of gambling companies on their shirts. That's 9 of the 20 Premier League clubs and 17 of the 20 from the Championship. Watch live football on any platform this season, and aside from the number of betting companies you will see on the club shirts, advertising hoardings and even stadium names, you will see a wealth of gambling companies giving out the latest odds during the ad breaks. There is concern from some of that is exposing young people to inappropriate messages. And this being our last concern of this video, I would like to thank you for your attention, and we will see each other with a better video in the finals.